Hello and welcome to my video post for this week. My name is Dan Gershie and today I'm going to be reviewing PhD dissertations on the Gettysburg campaign during the American Civil War and specifically how they relate to the performance of General George Gordon Meade and how he is taken in the history of memory. And you can see General Meade is pictured there on the slide. And I chose this because this is something I'm very interested in and is a potential starting point for a dissertation topic for me. So this is the bibliography I used to create this video. You can see on the top there are 4 different dissertations, and I used one additional source, which I'll talk about from our reading. But all but 3 of the 4 dissertations were published in the 2000s, except for Dennis Lavery's dissertation about General John Gibbon, which was published in 1974, and I'll get into why I bring that fact up in a bit. So I'm going to review all 4 dissertations in terms of these various different categories, and then I'm going to have one big takeaway at the end, which I learned from this exercise. But all 2 of the 4 dissertations that I reviewed were about General Meade himself, and then 2 of the other 2 dissertations reviewed this gentleman right here, Henry Slocum, and this gentleman right here, Brigadier General John Gibbon, and they were subordinates of General Meade. And in the course of the dissertations, those authors discussed General Meade and where he's placed in the context of the history of the campaign and what their conclusions are regarding it. But I'll start off by just talking about the sources. All 4 authors pretty much use the same sources, which is that of the official record of the War of Rebellion, which is a huge primary source within the American Civil War. And then they use published memoirs, newspaper articles, books, academic journal articles, pretty much the same gamut of information, which is good because it shows that those are academically agreed upon sources. In terms of methodology, all 4 of them used what they called a biographical sketch, and one of the authors actually said that he used a great man theory, and that was Brian Melton's dissertation on General Slocum, the great man theory of history, to illustrate how General Slocum was influential in the entire Civil War and affected the country's history. So that was kind of interesting. And then in terms of content, all of them had very good content. I mean, if you're going to be doing a doctoral dissertation, the committee obviously is not going to let you get away with not having good content. So they were very good reads as I perused through them. However, I will note that in Theodore Ziolkowski's PhD Squid article that we had to read today, he talked about how as time has gone on, doctoral programs have gotten longer, and as doctoral programs have gotten longer, so has the dissertation, which brings me back to the dissertation that was written in 1974 was only 200 pages. And then in 2011, Theodore Pappas's dissertation that I reviewed was over 500 pages. So clearly they're getting longer. And then in terms of conclusions, the authors all agreed that General Meade was a good commander, and he is maligned in history unjustly. But the big takeaway is that General Meade has well been covered in the American Civil War in terms of academia, so these dissertations offer a starting point for something else that I would potentially write. Thank you.